Today, we're going to explore one of America's most haunting cold cases. Seriously, this story has it all. A brutal murder, a 50-year search for a name, and, get this, an unbelievable cameo in one of the biggest movies ever made. This is the cinematic mystery of the Lady of the Dunes. So let's set the scene. The story begins right here, Provincetown, Massachusetts, July 26, 1974, a perfect summer day out on the scenic dunes of Cape Cod. A young girl is out walking her dog. Just like any other day. The dog, being a dog, gets all excited and runs up ahead on the path. But then it just stops, and it starts digging like crazy in the sand. What that dog uncovered was a body, and that was the beginning of a mystery that would haunt the town, and the FBI for that matter, for nearly 50 years. It really all starts with the crime scene itself and the truly chilling details of what they found out there in the sand. Okay, so a woman's body was found face down, but this was obviously no accident. Her hands had been severed, her head was nearly removed. There was no ID, nothing at all to say who she was. And maybe the weirdest part, she had been placed very carefully on a thin cloth. This was a clear sign that this wasn't just a murder. It was a deliberate and brutal attempt to completely erase her identity. And you know what? For decades, that effort actually worked. The police had a victim with no name. She became known simply as the Lady of the Dunes. Now, investigators weren't completely without clues. Forensics put her age somewhere between 25 and 45. She had expensive New York-style dental work, which is an interesting detail, and her hair had been styled very carefully. The way she was placed, not just dumped, well, it pointed to one really chilling conclusion. Whoever did this likely knew her. And yet, even with all those details, the case just went nowhere. For 25 years, that file just gathered dust. Think about that. A quarter of a century passed without a name, a suspect, or a single meaningful lead. Then, decades later, the case took a turn that was so strange, you literally couldn't make it up. A potential clue popped up from the most unlikely place imaginable: Hollywood. This new lead raised a really mind-bending question. Had the victim been hiding in plain sight this whole time? So check this out. A filmmaker is watching the movie Jaws, which, incredibly, was filmed in Massachusetts in the summer of 1974, just weeks before the murder. He pauses on a crowd scene, and he spots an extra. When you compare her face to the police sketch, the resemblance is absolutely stunning. The jawline, the cheekbones. Could this possibly be her? I mean, the theory was electrifying. Investigators rushed to follow up on it, but it was just another frustrating dead end. The movie's production company had no record of this extra. No contract, no name, no address. She appears in this one single scene, like a ghost in the frame, and then just vanishes. So the Jaws theory became this fascinating piece of folklore for the case. But the real answer, well, it wasn't going to come from Hollywood. It would come from science, when forensic genealogy finally gave her a name. Just think about how much time passed. The body was discovered way back in 1974. The Jaws theory pops up in 1999, but it wasn't until 2023, almost 50 years later, that technology finally caught up with the killer. After 49 years as America's most famous Jane Doe, the Lady of the Dunes was finally identified. Her name was Ruth Marie Terry. But giving her a name didn't close the case. Not at all. In fact, it just opened up a brand new and really perplexing chapter. The mystery was far from over. The new puzzle was Ruth herself. She was from California. She had no known friends, no family, no reason at all to be in Provincetown. So why was a woman from the West Coast murdered on an East Coast beach? Nobody knows, and her killer has never been found. So here's where the case stands today with the FBI. The effort to identify her, that's officially closed. They have her name, but the murder investigation itself, oh yeah, that remains very much open. Which leaves all of us with the same haunting question investigators have been asking for half a century. We know her name now, but we still don't know the most important part of her story. Who brought Ruth Marie Terry to the dunes of Provincetown?